G'day everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Escape Pod Cast. I'm Scotty McLaren, and I'm from Australia. And Australia's bushfires are an unprecedented weather event. The massive bushfires sweeping across this country have shocked Australians in their size and ferociousness. Since the start of the 2019 fire season, a staggering 10 million hectares has been burned, with all states and territories impacted. Over 2,000 homes have been destroyed and 25 people have lost their lives. To put this into perspective, in New South Wales alone, almost 5 million hectares have been burned. Now this covers an area larger than the Netherlands and 1/5 the size of the UK. Australia's megafires have also left others in their shade. To put this also into perspective, the Amazon fires, which left the world reeling in August last year, saw about 900,000 hectares burned. The California fires in 2018 claimed about 800,000 hectares. We've had 10 million hectares burned. Over 500 million native wildlife have been killed in these devastating fires. Now these animals include koalas, bandicoots, wombats, echidnas, birds, fruit bats and many more. Rescuers are overwhelmed by what they are seeing in Australia, and they are actively out there on fire grounds to rescue the native wildlife. We've now had to call in our friends, the American, British, Canadian and other firefighters. They've now all joined the efforts in Australia, as the Australian firefighters are completely voluntary and they've been run off their feet. The Aussie firefighters have actually been battling these blazes since August last year, and now that summer has officially kicked in, things are about to get a whole lot worse, because there's no rain on the horizon. We are currently experiencing our worst drought of all time. Towns have completely run out of water and have to have trucks bring water in for people to drink. In fact, Tamworth, where I live, we're on level 5 water restrictions. Now this means that we can only shower for 30 seconds, do 1 load of washing per week, and conserve as much water as we can. It's actually estimated that my town will completely run out of water by April this year if we don't get any rain. So please, show your support, help us out. We need your help. And do as much as you can for our little guys and girls that make our country unique, like our wombats, our koalas and the rest. See all the links in the description below, and please dig deep and help us out. The Escape Podcast would now like to respect those that have lost their lives, both human and animal, with a moment's silence.
One is a Grand Arena specialist from the UK. The other is a territory battle tactician from the US. Together, there are no signs of intelligent life on board. With both having played this game since launch, the one thing we are sure of is that you will be entertained. The Escape Pod Cast, a service of the Escape Pod Castaways. A weekly podcast about the mobile game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Live from the network studios of Yavin 4, here are your hosts, Neil Andrew Eyre and Paul Anthony.
Coming up on this week's edition of the Escape Pod Cast.
The year started off slow, but then we got a beacon of hope for information with a Q&A.
Did we get enough pertinent Qs answered? Or are we still left with a-holes?
Hey. Now, I did find something interesting on the brute surveillance feeds this morning. Do you care to elaborate, Neil?
Has Clone Scotty been molting again? We really need to sort ourselves out some better back to tanks.
Well, that isn't exactly, but speaking of Scotty, we do unveil a new feature, 5 good minutes, with Clone Scotty coming up in our first break.
Let's just hope he is a little bit more coordinated than the last one we unthawed.
There is a disturbance in the Force, as if 38,000 subscribers cried out in terror and were then suddenly silenced.
Yes, a very sad day indeed.
You alright there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm okay. Let's just get on with it.
Don't mind if I do. I mean, All this and breaking news as and if it happens right here on this live YouTube premiere of the Escape Podcast.
The Escape Podcast News.
And we are live. Welcome to the Escape Podcast. I'm your host, Neil Andrew Eyre, and to my left is my co-host, Paul Anthony. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing well. Edition of live on YouTube. I mean, this is. I'm having fun, man. This was fun last week, so why not do it again this week? And I'm always honored to be right alongside you, Nev.
Ad infinitum. It's going on, and that's it. You know, we're a wrecking ball. We're out of control. That's it. That's us every Friday now, mate.
Oh my gosh. So, Nev, can you tell me why there were no Christmas giveaways?
I can tell you that there were no Christmas giveaways because EA and CG are full of godless heathens.
Oh God. This is not a way to get them in our good graces to come back on again, Neil.
Yeah, no, but because there was no Christmas giveaway because it's very, very difficult for EA and CG to think, how can we observe the social convention of a winter holiday without calling it Christmas? Oh, hang on a minute. I just said it. This is the winter holiday. Gifts and surprises for you, you know. So they could have observed the social convention. Christmas is not solely owned by Christianity. It isn't, you know, Protestants, Catholics. You know, they don't own Christmas. Not anymore.
Well, it's not solely owned. You know, Christmas is not owned by Christianity, but it's kind of in the name there, Neil.
No, the 25th of December was a pagan holiday.
Yeah, you are right.
It was taken by Christianity, and they made it a Christian. They took the pagan holiday and turned it into a Christian holiday. I mean, I don't have any issues with that. You know, stuff like that happens all throughout history. All I'm saying is CG's excuse for not doing a holiday, you know, for not doing a Christmas giveaway based purely on the word Christmas is pathetic.
Okay. But here's my answer to them. They asked why there were no Christmas giveaways. I think they gave us every single event under the sun, maybe even twice. Ooh. I know I got a whole bunch of Zetas out of that. So if you weren't, you know, didn't have your thumb up your rear, then you were given a lot more stuff than you normally would get on any day. Especially during that entire week. So given.
That's not because of the holiday season, though. That's because they'd already brought out the journey. No, it's because they've brought the journey guide out. So all of the legendary events and the hero's journey events, they don't need to incorporate that into the monthly calendar anymore, so that they can put more of the daily stuff out. And that's why
they've done this 2 years in a row, Neil. Don't even start with that. They've done this 2 years in a row. We've seen where they've given us access to a lot of the events over the holidays. So we did end up getting a special. Now, they have apparently fixed the Wat Tambor shard issues. And then they kind of had an aside. In the Q&A this week, where they said, are there any future plans to extend the data available to officers in territory battles and territory wars? I would love to be able to see, and you know, they went back and forth about everything here. Top Hat originally said, not this time, that's interesting. And then he kind of circled it over to Crumb, and Crumb said, yeah, I'll do that this afternoon. They kind of did a form dramatization of them posting this other link, this other thread. Mm-hmm. And then Sven came in and said, a multitude of improvements for guild experiences are in our quality of life list. We know that facilitating the management of guilds has cascading benefits for everyone. It does. And we will tackle that work as soon as possible. When's the quality of life update, Neil?
March,
That's March usually. Yeah.
March.
So I would love, and here's my list, and I'll also put it on the forums. My list includes being able to see who, not just the number of combat missions that somebody has done, but who has done said combat missions, so I can be like, Scotty, why haven't you done your combat missions yet? You know, I remember having to say that many, many times. But, you know, it's... I would love to see that for our territory war officers. I'd love for them to be able to see who has attempted an attack on a certain group by pressing and holding. That'd be great. You know, not on the character, because then the character you get to see the character stats. But if you click on that little bracket, you know, Nev, I would love to see that. Anything that you'd like to add to the list, I'll add that.
Mm-hmm. No. When it comes to territory wars and territory battles and territory wars, I leave it to you guys. You know me. I don't care about that stuff. I only care about GAC.
Yeah. Well, why don't you read this next one? I'm going to catch up on chat real quick. So we're live on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We will be back hopefully next week. Knock on wood. Back through Discord as well. For our Discord people, if you just want to be on Discord and you have a way to listen to the show, I have both the Listener Lounge and the Patreon chat open on my screen, so you can type in there if you don't want to use YouTube chat. I understand if you don't.
So, this was one of the most loaded questions that I saw in the list. It was a very, I couldn't stand it. I hated it, to be perfect. Can you offer any insight on the difficulty level of Lightside GOTB? I mean, the questions are complete and utter cop-out. People will have been asking questions specifically following up the response to the Lightside difficulty level question from the last Q&A, and they decided to just use a complete copy of one of the previous Q&A questions so that CG Top Hat could, you know, basically give a non-response. We've answered a number of questions about the difficulty around Lightside TB in the last QA. Many of them can be found here. You know, it's a forum QA.
Okay,
and they
I'm going to go there,
forum.
and they link. And they link, Neil, directly to this to the post where CG Top Hat says that we do not. We will be actively monitoring player participation and related behaviors in the Geonosis Lightside territory battle. If there is a problem, your example is mass exodus, we will intervene and make changes. Hope this allays any concern. Well, earlier in the day, I posted inside the Listener Lounge the following. This was the question that I wanted answered. I put in there that I directed this to Cyanides because he's the data tracker. You know, did the community movement of Return to Hoth and the recent departure of some of the high-spending content creators affect any decision to reduce Lightside territory battles even slightly? Was there enough data from where it was stated by Top Hat that they'll be monitoring the player participation? And was it enough that you will intervene and make changes? I paraphrased the last little bit there. Mm-hmm. And I closed with the morale of a lot of guilds rests in your hands.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but these QAs, these QAs keep coming across to me more and more like Disney movies. You know, when we first got them, it was like, wow, Q&As, this is brilliant. You know, this is great. They're interacting with us. And then we'd ask them questions and they'd give us kind of responses without answers. And, you know, we get more and more QAs and the expectations just keep getting lower and lower, you know, or then sometimes we'll have high expectations and then we'll be completely and utterly be disappointed, just like a Disney Star Wars movie. That you know, yeah. That obviously there are people that aren't disappointed and have high expectations and their high expectations are met, and I am very jealous and envious of those people. I wish I could be one of those people. But yeah, no, I mean, the next question: would you guys consider working with Swagger.gg? Bunch of stuff. Basically, no. What was your 2019 Galaxy of Heroes highlights?
Well, no. It was that wasn't it. Hang on, let me pull that back up here. The next one would they consider making it private?
No, that was a good question.
Yeah,
that was a good question.
That was the next question, and we had some stuff on that.
Yeah, no, the question was good. What I'm saying is the answer, the response was the bollocks one.
I wasn't too bothered by that. I was a little taken back. I think it was a little jerkish to say TLDR, not at this time.
Yeah.
Too long didn't read is what TLDR stands for.
Yeah.
They
should
have put TLDR version, not at this time. Because it was, No,
I think that the question's fine. But the response is yeah. I mean, and to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, you shouldn't really be asking shouldn't be asking GG to make anything private. We're all it's competitive. It's a competitive game. The GAC is competitive. TW is competitive. All of these, specifically GAC, is competitive. I don't mind people looking at what I've got. I try and mix things up and I try and mix things around so that people can't guess what I'm going to do for the next GAC. And those people that just want the GAC history private, it's because they don't want their opponents looking at what they got. Which is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely preposterous. Sporting teams, whether they're team events or whether it's single events, you watch your opponent's previous forays into their sport in order to kind of like get some tactics and get some strategy as to how you're going to compete against them and how you're going to beat them. And GAC is just like any other competitive sport. You see, you want to look and see what your opponent is doing so that you can so that you can come up with the best strategy, so that you can come up with the best tactics. And people that just want to conceal that are tough. This is a competitive game. You want your, you want your history private. Look, Crimea River, tough.
Well, there's another reason that somebody wants their history private, and it's because they're deflating the footballs.
Yeah.
So,
you get Ben GAC private history. Get Ben. Everything is open and it's better. Plus, we can't have it private because you've got to remember that there are still some cheats out there, and we need to know who those cheats are. And seeing that information allows us to expose any cheats that we can report up the chain. So, kind of an important on that.
But by the way, Neil, there was something earlier you were talking to me about. Here's a Q&A for you. If look up to your top right for a second. Do you see that?
Yes, I can see a security camera.
Okay,
it's the bridge security camera.
It's the bridge security camera, and there. I was having to go through because of the whole Heinze thing, and I was dealing with Constable Thaddeus about everything, and I just so happened to look at this week's while getting everything just to make sure that Heinze hadn't snuck back onto the bridge in Force Ghost form, and I saw something I want to show our viewers right now, and I'm going to describe for the people that are listening on the podcast. Let me play this for our YouTube viewers right now. So Neil, this is the video that I got of somebody sent it to me. You obviously see something on your screen that you are not very excited about. You're even saying no and slapping your forehead. It's you're rocking back and forth. You're in the near fetal position in a way. You started banging on the walls, drop to your knees. You're pleading with a God that you don't believe in. I don't understand that. And it's just you're throwing.
Okay. So clearly I was upset at something.
I'm during the break, we're not going to go to break yet, but during the break, I think that I could get some audio. I need to see. I want to figure out what was going on here. Are you okay?
I bet you do.
Are you okay?
I'm fine, honestly, mate. I'm fine. I'm fine.
As I said, you're praying to a God that you don't pray to. I don't get it.
I'm fine, honestly. I'm fine. You know, we have, we have bridge security for obvious reasons. You know, the millennial fulcrum isn't going to fly itself.
All right. So, they did talk about in the Q&A a little bit more. They talked about what was their highlights and things that they enjoyed. Viking had a lot of information that he thinks that they delivered great characters and ships in 2019. I'm excited for Malevolence. I'm excited for Negotiator. I'm excited for the ships that we got at the end. The characters. It was the year of Malik and Gas. Mm-hmm. It really was. Yeah. So I mean, they did deliver some great characters. I will punch the ticket for him in saying yes, that is true.
The epic confrontation was an interesting new one.
Yeah, but I did like that he owned up to it, and see, I'm pointing out that CG is admitting here something I think we did not do well in 2019 was in the production of content, and the next sentence was that will change in 2020.
Well, that's something that we're just going to have to try and hold them to.
I mean, this goes on the list of the things that we're going to hold them to in addition to ship raids and things like that. This definitely goes on the list. Are we going to see it? They say in addition to features, they have an ocean of characters.
You can go in, mate.
Okay. We have an ocean of characters and ships planned, and they're super excited for 2020's character and ship content, and they think that we are going to be as well. If it's an onslaught of things to the point where if it's an onslaught of things that is a overflow of marquees, then we're going to have some trouble, right?
Kiss goodbye.
But it's something that we need to. I hope it's not a tidal wave and that it's a nice ocean, as they're saying. Maybe a Billy Ocean of content and ship content.
Billy Ocean. I'm sorry, I just came back in and heard that.
So they also went through there, but you had a problem with the answer from Sven when somebody asked, in what ways will you help the free-to-play players in 2020?
Yeah. I mean, the long and short is we won't. We're not going to help the free-to-play players. The response, it's not an answer, because the question was not answered. The response, bearing in mind the question was, in what ways will you help the free-to-play players in 2020, the response was, the journey guide was a first step in putting our best content in front of all players, regardless of spend level. The question's about free-to-play. So the question is about free-to-play, and he's responding with regardless of spend level. So in 2020, we want to create experiences that are fun and meaningful for all players. There's nothing meaningful about the game for free-to-play at the moment. And then the last bit was hopefully this initiative empowers everyone to play and compete in compelling ways. No. $100 empowers people to play and compete in compelling ways. There's nothing for free-to-play. So couldn't even be bothered to answer that honestly, and I get why they can't answer it honestly, because they're on puppet strings. CG are on puppet strings. The puppet masters EA are above them. Dance, little puppet, dance. So yeah, so to expect, to expect a question, to expect an answer to that question would be like, expecting to cut into a lemon and see, diamonds where the stones are. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So Zed was asking if that was a clone Scotty that interrupted you.
Say that again, mate.
What was that? A clone Scotty that interrupted the stream there for you?
Oh, was it? Where is he? Where is he?
What? No. What was that? One of Scotty's little clones that interrupted
No. It's
the
my
stream?
niece. She's right here.
Oh, okay.
You can't see her, but she's there. You're there, aren't you, sweetheart? Yeah. She's right here, and she's going home soon. But we're going to talk. Okay, what's next on the Q&A?
There's not much. We're going to touch on one question of art, and then we will take a break and come back and then wrap up the Q&A a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But in the art section, I know it's your favorite section.
Oh yeah, no, but it's the most important section of a Q&A. I mean, without the art, this game would be dead. It'd be buried without these important art questions and answers.
Technically, without the art, you'd be fighting. We wouldn't. Art does suck you into the game. It gives you that immersion. So I'm not gonna slam the art, but
no, I'm not slamming the art. Question. I'm slamming having art in a Q&A.
Yeah,
I'm slamming that in the Q&A because these are questions that can be asked at any time in the forums, and because they're art questions that will actually get answers, not just responses, that they'll be answered whenever the question is asked because they're pertinent. In a QA, they're unnecessary. It just takes
this was my favorite art question. I really enjoyed the new splash screen, but notice that the Earth's moon is clearly in the top left corner above the X-wing. Aren't we supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away? And Raging Spaniard said, "Caught me." Essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was a good question. That was somebody who's like, you know what? That was somebody posing an art question deliberately to catch them out. So I don't mind that. I actually like that question because it's like, so you screwed up. I'm pointing out that you've screwed up. Answer my damn question. And they're like, crap, that's the moon. Where's the shrug emoji when you need it? I'll see what. That was a good one. That was a good one.
All right. And the last thing before we go to break, the next area was the quality of life area, which, by the way, Nev, was deleted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys marinate on that while we take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned.
The Escape Pod Cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
Micaeus Modding Mayhem is the premier remodding service for the game that we all love, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. With some of the most affordable rates in the industry, Micaeus will rebuild your roster from top to bottom and give you consultation on where to go from there. Micaeus has a 100% satisfaction guarantee and lots of useful additional services, including a full cleanup of your mods, loadout pages, PvP plans, and more. Contact Micaeus today on Discord at all lowercase Micaeus number 0127. That's MIKAYAS number 0127, or at micaeusmods@gmail.com. Micaeus Modding Mayhem, the official remodding service of the Escape Pod Cast.
Did you know that if you signed up to become a Patreon, you could get tons of rewards? Force Ghost Scotty could do a roster review for you. Neil Andrew Ware could share Grand Arena tactics. Or Paul could even help you get maximum stars in Geonosis Territory Battle. And you even get access into the after show. Sound good? Sign up to be a Patreon today. For as little as $2 a month, you could unlock a ton of potential content and also get closer to the hosts. Head to patreon.com/theescapepod to sign up.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Pod Castaways wants you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Pod Castaways, all for free. See Audible website for details.
G'day everyone, and welcome to 5 Good Minutes with Clone Scotty, a brand new segment on this week's edition of the Escape Pod Cast. And I'm coming at you live right now from my clone facilities. I'm just getting a little bit of a drip which is coming into me right now. Now this week I thought I'd talk about what's coming to the Star Wars universe in 2020 and how that could impact the game. Now, we've got a couple of things which have been announced by Lucasfilm and also Disney over the last couple of weeks, and I thought that I'd start off with just a couple of things that they've got going on. Now, first of all, we're going to be heading over to Disneyland because we've got the Rise of the Resistance, which is opening very soon. In fact, it's opening in a couple of weeks' time. Now, could this then mean that this is when we're going to be seeing the likes of the brand new Rey and Kylo Ren coming into the game, and also some other new characters and ships from the brand new Lucasfilm movie Rise of Skywalker? Well, only time will tell. So let's just hope that we see these things come to the game to coincide with the launch of Disneyland and the Rise of the Resistance. Elsewhere, kicking off next month, we've got Clone Wars Season 7. Now that kicks off from February 17 on Disney+. Now the developers have said that we're going to be seeing a return to Clone Wars content very, very soon. So, with that, maybe we might even see some brand new Clone Wars content coming in February. Let's hope so, because we could certainly use it, and I'm still not sick of it from last year. Also this year, it's been confirmed that there is a new game show which is coming to Disney+, and it's hosted by Ahmed Best, best known as Jar Jar Binks. It's called the Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge, and it commences mid-2020. Could this be confirmation that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes will finally add "Me Sir, Love You"? Well, let's hope so. Star Wars Resistance Season 2 and the conclusion of it kicks off on Disney Plus on October the 6th. Now, this has got me thinking that perhaps we might see some of those Resistance characters finally make their way into the game. Maybe a couple more marquee events. Who knows? Mandalorian Season 2 officially kicks off in November on Disney Plus, and let's hope that we'll start seeing Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian himself make their way into the game. Turning our attention ahead to next year, and Cassian Andor will finally get his series next year alongside K2SO. Could there be some reworks in store for these guys next year? Well, here's hoping, and here's hoping we'll also see Forrest Whitaker's Saw Gerrera also finally make his way into the game next year. We've got the Kenobi series kicking off in 2021, that's on Disney Plus, and let's hope that we'll see the Jawas finally get their rework, and also some Tusken love as well, seeing as Kenobi is of course on Tatooine. Heavily rumoured though, we've also had some pretty big confirmation lately that Dave Filoni is going to be returning with Star Wars Rebels Season 5, where we finally get to find out where Ezra Bridger is out there in the galaxy as Sabine Wren and Ahsoka Tano go out there and launch their appeal to try and find him. It's rumoured heavily that the Purgle are going to be involved in this, and this is coming at some point next year on Disney Plus, or maybe even late towards the end of this year. Watch this space. But here's hoping we might see some more of those Rebels characters finally make their way into the game. You know, from the likes of the guy that did a little bit of shifty stuff there and came back over, you know, Callus. He's one of them. Another couple I'm thinking of is, of course, the the seventh sister, the fifth brother, and also the Grand Inquisitor. Could we see them come to the game? Well, let's hope so. Dr. Aphra has been confirmed as getting its own animated series. That's coming to Disney Plus in 2021. He's hoping we'll see that come its way as well into the game. And the untitled Star Wars movie is actually being confirmed as well, and it's set just after the Knights of the Old Republic, and that's coming in December 16, 2022. Could we see a return to Knights of the Old Republic content next year? Well, watch this space. This year, though, will also mark some very significant anniversaries, and I reckon that we're going to be seeing a fair bit of Clone Wars stuff right through until May this year. Why? Because May 19 this year marks the 15th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. So here's hoping we'll see some more of this Clone Wars content last us until at least May. In August, though, they should be turning their attention, the guys over at Capital Games, to mark the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. We'll be celebrating that on August the 7th this year, and in May 16 of 2022, we'll be marking the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. So what does all this mean for Star Wars? Well, let's just hope that we'll start seeing some reworks of some of our rebels from The Empire Strikes Back, and also we'll start seeing some of those Revenge of the Sith Jedi, including Mace Windu, finally get his rework as well. That's just some of the big things that are coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and also Star Wars itself, hopefully in 2020 and 2021. And now I'm just going to disconnect myself here. Give me a sec. I'm being flushed away!
The death of that Scotty clone will be on your hands, you jackasses.
This is Hellenix.
Hashtag shameless self-promotion.
And you're listening to the Escape Pod cast, part of the Escape Pod Castaways Network.
The Escape Pod cast.
And welcome back to the Escape Pod cast. That was a nice little break. Did you like the new segment, ladies and gentlemen? 5 minutes with Scotty. Like what? Yes, there was Heinze, yeah. Is Heinze in the chat? Oh, great, we can talk smack about Heinze. I'm British, I'm allowed to. You know, British and Aussies, we're allowed to talk smack about each other whenever we want. But I'm not going to. We'll continue on with the Q&A. Yeah. Well, I mean, the assault battles have got the assault battles are the hard, very hard, and bonus. So I suppose they could throw an epic tier at the end and give some extra, either Omegas or Zetas or Chirotechs or something, anything really. As long as they're running these new assault battles, a half a dozen to a dozen times a month, so that we can get the extra tier and get the extra reward, then it'd be worthwhile. I'd like to see them. The thing is that now that the journey guide does, they don't need to put legendaries, and they don't need to put the legendary and epic confrontations and the heroes' journeys in the calendar anymore, because it's all part of the journey guide. They need to start loading more of this assault battle type stuff into the month, because it needs to take up those days, because people can do the legendaries and they can do the heroes' journeys whenever they want. No, oh god, bad Nev, bad Nev.
Nev forgot to unmute me, So
that's because I'm you. Last week I was doing you first, then me, and now I'm doing me, now you. It's completely thrown.
And we put less stress on you by making it one button for you to push.
Naughty.
All right.
Okay.
So we were talking about the economy. You know, these new. They're not going to put new daily challenges in just yet. They're going to start with assault battles, you know. And I said they do them every other week.
And I said that I would like to see them a hell of a lot more, but everybody heard me. They just didn't hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, the people like the show like that, Paul. Sir Boss said, "Shh, the show's better like this." Sir Boss, I agree. No, I don't. I would be lost without my co-host. I would be totally lost without my co-host. I keep pointing in that direction. He's actually in that direction.
Yeah, I can always look like this whenever I just look to my left on my screen where you technically are on the screen.
Yeah.
It looks like we're looking at each other.
When I redo the studio and I move the studio over to the other side of the basement, I'm going to set it up so that I can do this. So it looks like we're having a conversation together, you know? We're just talking. And I just... yeah. So we'll do it that way. So anyway, now that they can hear you, we can go back to the economy.
Yeah. They asked if they're going to update guild requests. It's once again, it's one of those things that, you know, 59 lines of 59 bugs of line in the code, 59 bugs of line, take one out, patch it around, 724 lines of bugs in the code.
Yeah.
So
there was one
they asked about.
Yeah, keep going.
Good. Oh, I was just going to point out, they then asked about the percentage of players that are actively participating in Grand Arena. Well, when they can join, am I right, Nev?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They said a vast majority of them.
Don't get me started. I joined. I was not placed in a group. I was not placed in a group.
You should have 3 buys. You should have 3 buys and get full points.
Yeah, well, I didn't. And I that was it. So because Pom Pom Tastic wasn't in phase 3, I didn't care. So I only got a rhodium, no quadruple kyber for me, unfortunately. But it does bring me to the last question in the economy, and it is the most kissy-ass question I think I've ever seen. The person writing this, if it wasn't someone that works for CG, is someone that wants to work for CG, because the person who wrote this question's nose is so far up CG's butt, it's coming out their mouth, and I'm going to read it just how I imagine they wrote it. It's like, hey, the hyperdrive bundle was amazing, even for such a long-term player as me. So many useful gear and material. I really liked it. For the first time ever, a bundle included Zeta materials. Can we expect new packs and bundles in the future with Zeta materials? That would be awesome for new and long-term players. I mean, you could not kiss more ass with that question. And it's very, very kissy ass, because it's like, great question. I'm thinking, no, it wasn't a great question. It was a kiss ass question. And the response should have been, how far up my ass are you? And then they could have responded to the question. But real kissy ass question, that.
Well, in the answer to that was my favorite part of the Q&A as far as things that I didn't enjoy. The very last, the second to last sentence. Mm-hmm. This is a bit rambling to answer your question, but I would like to find more opportunities to include Zetas in merchandising. Not
microtransactions, which is exactly what the damn things are, but merchandising. Merchandising infers you're going to receive something physical, like a t-shirt or a mug. But Zetas are nothing.
We have merchandising.
Right
they
up
don't
there.
have merchandising.
So real kiss-ass question, that.
And you can reuse the merchandising from right up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You get a mug, you have a coffee, you put it away, You get it out, you have another coffee in it. You know, once you've used a Zeta, you've used that Zeta.
Oh, you all right there, Nev?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So I did happen to find the the audio.
Oh God!
I found the audio of what was going on. Are you okay if I play it?
Yeah. Go on, then you can play it.
It's raw feed. It's raw emotion, my friend. It's raw emotion. All right, so I'm gonna hit the button here in a second. But guys, earlier you saw me describing the video. Here's what Nev was saying.
Oh my God, what is this? Warriors leaving the game? No. It can't be right. It can't be true. No. Oh my God. He's leaving the game? No. Oh my God. Why? Oh my God. Why, Warrior? Why are you leaving us? Why? Oh no. I could do without Darth microtransaction, and I could do without others, but not you. No. Okay, so you've embarrassed me. Fine.
I'm gonna get Warrior on the phone, and we're gonna talk to him next segment. Okay. All right. So I'm pulling out the phone. I'm gonna text him here real quick. We're gonna make sure we get him on next segment. So you want to read the next one?
Let's go to. Well, that was it. That was it for economy. We're into tech now, aren't we? Why can't we use malevolence in GOTB? Because we're incompetent and it's still bugged. For people experienced players who purchased the hyperdrive pack, many of the quests were reset. This will now prevent me from obtaining Vader's first title. Will any corrections be made for this? We're investigating, so put your finger in the air. Say you're running General Skywalker.
This was the fun one. This was the fun one. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead. Actually, you jumped down. You jumped past the content one that talked about. We know we're getting Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
We were told we're getting a new Poe Dameron.
I skipped content.
Yeah, they're. Well, no, they put some stuff that we're gonna put on the checklist for this year.
Sorry. Yes. No. From in that sense, it's stuff that we can put on the checklist. I'm talking about in the sense like every other QA. It's like they get asked if something's going to get put in, and then it's like, yeah, sort of, kind of, maybe.
Well, here's the thing. It's too early to go into any details, as somebody asked about a blitz mode, possibly.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's too early to go into any details, but the goals and what they're approaching this year from a foundational level, rather than just trying to slap a new UI on something we've already done. So instead of reskinning a territory battle or whatnot, we're getting new modes.
No, they've been set. Look, read the last line. Rest assured that we are working on new game modes, and as soon as I can share details, I will. It's more fluff. It's niff, naff, and trivia. It's somebody asking a good question, you know, something akin to a blitz mode, and then it's them saying, right, okay, yeah, let's put a couple of big words in here to make it seem like we're interested in, you know, foundational, approaching. Something you've already done, not slap on a new UI, and then right at the end, rest assured that we are working on new game modes, and as soon as I can share details, I will. It's complete. It's completely underwhelming. It's like, just say yes or no, or just say yeah. We are working on a very specific new game mode now, and we are going to look to roll it out within the next 12 months. That's vague, but it's not as vague as rest assured we are working on new game modes, and as soon as I can share details, I will. Saying we're working on a new game mode and we're going to try and roll it out in 12 months is something solid. It's visceral. It's something we can hold them to. Rest assured we're working on new game modes is abstract and it means nothing. It is a meaningless sentence thrown at the end of a response to a decent question. That's why I'm getting, more and more frustrated by these damn QAs.
Well, here's the GAC question.
Yeah.
Here, I caught you this time.
Yeah, you caught me that time.
I didn't catch you in the intro, but I caught you this time.
Yeah, you caught me this time.
The GAC mixing 3 and 3 and 5v5. I'm actually kind of for that.
Well, that's what they did during they used to do that during GA. If you remember, before it was GAC, and it was obviously GAC is a sequence of 4 phases. And they do the same thing.
4 GAs.
Yeah, and they do it's 4 GAs, and they do the same thing in the 4 GAs. Before we had GAC, they would do a 5v5, then they would do a 3v3, then they would mix battles with ships. So I think doing something like that would be better. Having a 3v3, 3v3 with ships, 5v5, and then a 5v5 with ships gives you it gives you the quarter. It gives you the full 4. So if you make it to Kyber after that, you really, really can say, yeah, you've mastered all of the strategies.
Well, here's the thing that I'm thinking though. Is doing front lines is 3-on-3 and the back lines is 5v5. I'm thinking that would be fun.
Oh, sorry. No. I see what you mean now. You're thinking in terms of mixing 3v3 and 5v5 within the 4 territory battle itself. In one round. In one of the 3 rounds.
Sorry for the YouTube viewers. My laptop came unplugged that houses the video. That's the last thing we need is to go off the air. Anyway,
so mixing them up, yeah. But again, I'll look into how feasible this is for future GAC. That's not no. I'll look into how feasible this is for a future GAC. Just say we'll look into it. Whether it's feasible or not is irrelevant. We don't need to know that. We just need to know that they're looking into it. Look, you got to remember, I come from a project manager background, and there is so much bureaucratic claptrap coming out in these responses that it's starting to hurt my eyes. My eyes want to bleed. The last question was quite decent as well.
Yep, go ahead.
Has CG considered this question has been asked so many different times in so many different ways. I wish they would just answer the goddamn question. But the question was, has anyone at CG considered updating Galactic War with a harder version that unlocks at either level 85 or a specific amount of GP on your account? And this goes back to every single person that plays this game wanting a sandbox mode. We know they're never going to give us a sandbox mode. So, we ask for Galactic War to be harder so that we can use GW as a sandbox mode. And the response was, this ties into the question I answered about a new game mode. We think that a Galactic War hard mode would be good. Again, saying the same, we ask the question and they give exactly the same response, but we think we can do better. Doing better starts with some fundamental system changes to the way we target unit difficulty and power scaling, but we are excited about the potential of what we are planning. Again, it means nothing. It's a completely and utterly meaningless response to a good question.
Dadio Vader in YouTube says, if it all sucks so much, why are we still playing? It's because we actually do enjoy the things. We just don't. The answers to the questions kind of they need to be a little bit more concrete or not say anything.
Yes, exactly. If we do not vociferously complain and whinge and moan about the way that they respond to the half, you know, I mean, some of the questions are good, some of them are half-assed. But if we do not complain vociferously about the way that they're responding to these questions, they're never, ever going to change. So I am progressively hammering them harder. And I mean, last time I was a little bit harder before that. Before that, I wasn't too bad. But every single QA, the more they answer questions in this niff-naff, wishy-washy, abstract way, the harder I am going to hammer them for it. Pointing out the specific words that are completely and utterly meaningless. It's like asking a question to a politician. That's what these responses are more akin to. People asking a politician a question and then getting a response that means absolutely nothing and gives you absolutely nothing, because the response to that question gives us nothing other than they think a galactic war hard mode would be good. I mean, well, we know it's good. That's why we're asking you to bring it into the game, you know, and then say, oh, we think we can do. Yeah. So again, I'm going to hammer them on this QA, just like RSG do. I'm going to hammer them harder and harder every single time. And if it gets worse and worse and worse, then I'm going to tell everybody that these Q&As are completely and utterly useless. Because right now they are. And they care more about answering our questions.
I still got some. I was fine with some of the answers. So I'm not writing this entirely off as you are.
I'm not writing it off, but they're getting worse and they need to be doing better. You know, this is their primary mode for communicating with the community, and they're not doing that. They are failing to communicate with the community. You know, agreeing with the premise of a question, it is not answering the question, and it's not engaging with the community. You know, agreeing and then saying, yeah, you know what, that's something that we should do. That's something that we should be doing. I'm going to look into this and I will get back to you by the next QA. Why are we, I mean, it's like a remedial action plan. You know, some of these questions that have answers that they're saying that they're not answering should be, you know what, I can't answer that question right now. And I'm sorry I can't answer that question right now, but I want you to hold me to it. And the next time we do a Q&A, I'll see if I can give you a better response or follow up in the forums. You know, there needs to be some substance. The Q&A needs substance, and right now it has none. And yeah, and I'm going off on a rant here, but it needs to be more substantive. It really, really does. You know, well, it's not at the moment.
Neil, I just got messaged.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You got messaged? Really?
I got messaged. He is standing by on the other side of a break. Do you want to go to that break and then after that?
Yeah, let's go to that break.
All right. I know you want to get here. So, guys, stay tuned. Story time with the llamas coming up next. But after that, we've got Warrior. We'll see you after the break on the Escape Pod cast.
The Escape Pod cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
Hey there, Escape Podawans. Everyone's favorite llama here to remind you that the Escape Pod cast is on social media. That's right, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So give us a like, give us a follow, and stay up to date on all things in-game and in the Escape Pod. Our account links are down in the description or on our Discord server in the Show Links channel. See you on the net.
Heinzie from the ANZGC is officially a member of the Escape Pod Castaways. Make sure you go and search for Heinzie on YouTube today, because he live streams a lot of his GAC content, and not only does he do that, he also does some pretty fun videos from time to time, including a behind the screen and also streaming Jedi Fallen Order. And from time to time, this idiot might drop by. Head on over and check out Heinzie today on YouTube, a part of the Escape Pod Castaways network.
The Escape Pod, cast for kids. It's really cool.
Hello and welcome back, Escape Podawans, to Storytime with the Llama in the Escape Pod cast for kids. This week, we're kicking off our Hollow Table Hero series with Neil's personal favorite table, the Championship Table. We're going to be taking a closer look at this PvP Superdome, as well as giving you Neil's top 3 tips for a successful GAC. Now, when you jump into the table, you're greeted with the overview screen. This has the round and phase information, as well as your division, rank, and league. There are 5 different leagues: Carbonite, Bronzium, Chromium, Erodium, and Kyber. For every battle you win, territory you clear, and feat you complete, your championship score goes up, which increases your position in the ranks and helps you progress through the different leagues. There's a second screen called Feats. These are little challenges that can be completed to buff your score and earn you GAC currency and other things like photo placards and crystals. Now, GAC is set up very similarly to TW, in that there's a map with different zones to place your squads. After your 24-hour setup period is over, you can take your leftover offensive teams and attack your opponent. Whoever has the highest score at the end of the 24-hour attack phase wins the round. Each GAC event has 3 rounds. The winner at the end can get Zetas, Omegas, GAC currency, that kind of thing. Now, let's get to Neil's tips. First on his list is that if you have a squad that you know your opponent can't beat, like Millennium Falcon or Revan, put that squad up front. Then you can put trash squads behind it and save your better squads for offense. Secondly, if your opponent has a squad that you know you can't beat, set up one territory up front with all of your best squads. This way, you can make it kind of like a wall, so you can hold them to that front territory and they won't get the extra score from getting into the back. Lastly, it's very important to always check the mods on squads you're not sure about. You might think it'll be an easy battle, but they have mods that will actually beat your team and prevent you from getting a full clear. That's all for me this week. Tune in next week for more story time with the llama and the escape pod.
Macias Modding Mayhem is the premier remodding service for the game that we all love, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. With some of the most affordable rates in the industry, Macias will rebuild your roster from top to bottom and give you consultation on where to go from there. Macias has a 100% satisfaction guarantee and lots of useful additional services, including a full cleanup of your mods, loadout pages, PvP plans, and more. Contact Macias today on Discord at all lowercase Macias number 0127. That's MIKAYAS number 0127, or at maciasmods@gmail.com. Macias Modding Mayhem, the official remodding service of the Escape Podcast.
The Escape Pod Cast now offers our faithful listeners a way to show their support via merchandise. Declare your allegiance to Team Paul or Team Neil with official shirts. Get a story time with the llama button or magnet. Or just represent the show by getting an official logo hoodie. There are now even Team Scotty and Team Heinzie options available too. Become an official Padawan today. Check out the merch at escapepodcastaways.com.
Hey everyone, this is Biscuit Weasel here, coming live to you from the Escape Pod Cast Content Creators Network. I'm sure some of you have seen my latest videos about General Kenobi countering the Millennium Falcon and Rebel fleets, as well as my top 10 Zeta videos for newer players. But I want to help you guys personally. If you head on over to patreon.com/biscuitweasel, that's Weasel with a Z, to check out my new Patreon rewards. And while they last, the first 10 people to sign up at the $10 level will get the whole $30 package for their first month for free. That's patreon.com/biscuitweasel. Remember, that's with a Z.
Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's incoming transmission. And as you can see below, We have a very, very special guest today. A very special guest. It makes me both sad and happy to have this guest on today. Sad that he recently retired, but happy that he's on our show and he's doing one of his final live streams here on our channel.
Now, Neil, I told you, we're gonna. I was gonna try to get somebody big for you because you were so upset during the first and second segment.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's make it happen. The man that gave you the pillar system alongside some very, very talented assistants, if I'm correct, and also the man who inspired Nev to go and do this, and I'm very grateful that Nev was inspired to do it, and I now have him as a co-host. Warrior, welcome to the program, my friend.
How's it going, you guys? How you doing?
Well, I'd be doing a lot better if CG get off their arse and give in to your demands to bring you out of retirement. But for now, I'm just happy that you're here talking to us, buddy. And we're doing the cowboy thing.
Yeah. I figured I'd pay homage to my late father. This is my late father's cowboy hat. I don't do cowboy hats well. I normally wear ball caps. I got a bit of a receding hairline, but no, my father was a genuine cowboy. In fact, he was he rode bucking broncos and all the good stuff. He's won a number of awards and stuff like that. That's for another story time, for another day, because YouTube, my friend, is not over. I've got plenty story. There's a lot of fun stuff still to do on YouTube. That's far from over, but I wouldn't say they per se. They were just a small list of things that. And I wasn't even. It wasn't even a complete, concordance of things that I thought were wrong. It was just a small list of things, because there was a lot. Like, I didn't even go into things like, characters that were not usable, or mods 2.0, or the lack of ships introduced into the game, or things like that. Like, there was just so much more I could have got into the game that I didn't. So I wasn't trying to be like people are like, oh, are you serious, like, is that your reasons? It's like, well, it's just some. Like, I was just listing some. And honestly, the two biggest reasons were not even Capital Games related. One of the biggest reasons was time investment, honestly. And that has nothing to do with Capital Games. Honestly, that has to do with me. The amount of time investment I had wrapped into the game, with two different accounts, and doing Scissor Man. And there were days where I was finding myself doing Grand Arena, and there would be days, and not always, but there were days where you'd have territory wars and a territory battles line up in the same day. Or not territory wars, but territory battles and Grand Arena.
Yes.
Hit on the same day, and so you'd have like all your Grand Arenas and your territory battles, and I'd have that on two accounts, plus your dailies, plus your arena climbs, and I had two different accounts, and I had them staggered on purpose because it's really hard to try and climb in the same hour for two different accounts, because I a lot of times would be on the same device. And I would have to try and switch accounts on the same device. That's difficult. So I tried to stagger my payouts. Well, then you try and do climbs. Plus, I had to do a lot of battles, especially on Scissor Man. To climb, you'd have to do 5 to 8 battles, sometimes more a day. So I found myself doing 2 to 3 hours of battles in a row between the two accounts. And so I found myself doing 5 to 6 hours of gameplay a day. Just to try and keep my head above water. And I don't know, some people out there might be able to do
people who have no
think,
lives. Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah. Well, there was a suggestion out there that, if you love Scissor Man, but you don't love your Warrior account anymore, just give up Warrior and play Scissor Man. And that's an oversimplistic solution. And I tried that for 6 months. I basically put Scissor Man as the forefront for the last 6 months, over 6 months. and I basically tried to semi-retire Warrior, and I tried to kind of just ignore Warrior as much as I could. It's what actually kind of got me kicked out of Team Instinct, because I was not spending a lot of time on it. They noticed it, and then they used a stupid reason to kick me out, because honestly, the reason why they kicked me out wasn't the real reason.
Yeah, we all know. That. We all remember that.
It was really the inactivity. I know it to be true. It was the inactivity, and they know that to be true. It wasn't with the reasons they stated. It was really they saw my activity level dwindle, and they just wanted to replace me. So, and that's fine. I just wish they would have been more honest and upfront about it. But my brain is not hardwired to say, don't play that and don't log into that and don't do that. The game that you've spent the thousands of dollars on, but log in and play this for 3 hours a day when you could log in and just keep this on Crucible. I mean, I could go in and I could get my at least my dailies done, and at least I have the most Zetas in the game of any character, of any person. I literally have more Zetas than any person in the history of this game. And to just like walk away from that, it was like, my brain didn't work. It was like, I either have to, it's all or none. I either have to give the whole thing up and walk away, or I have to do all of it. I have to maintain that account while I play Scissorman. And I think anyone in my shoes who's competitive knows that. You either all or none. So,
I mean, you are going to find a trusted friend to maintain those accounts in the event you come out of retirement, surely? No?
No, not at all.
Completely mothballing the accounts.
Yep, completely mothballing them, and they will go terribly obsolete. And I will be. It's a true sacrifice, because I will go genuinely from the number one position with most Zetas in the game, beating all whales and krakens, which is a genuine achievement, because there are a lot of people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars more than me and have less Zetas that are going to now pass me because of just getting Zetas every day and every week that I'm no longer going to be getting because I'm mothballing the account. I'm giving that up. But I genuinely need to let it go. As a famous person once said, let it go, let it go.
I mean, I can't even imagine putting it on the shelf and just letting it mothball. I mean, Warrior, I commend you, but I'm very sad. But for those that didn't get to tune into your last stream that you did with Scissorman, were there any big surprises or big reveals that you did in that stream that they should go check out after this show ends?
Well, I actually left some breadcrumbs over the last few months, but not last live stream, but the live stream before. I'd actually made my decision to quit a few live streams prior, and 2019 was a year where I had come to reconciliation. I was going to walk away from the game, and I actually told the entire community I was quitting 2 live streams ago through the word humility. And in my story time, I actually used the word that I was getting from 2019 was the word humility. That's what 2019 was telling me, that 2019 was bringing me to a point and a place of humility. And I kind of tell the story. I tell a story, and then I bring story time around. I always have that kind of that moralistic tone to my stories, right? Like they're funny or they're crazy or they're whatever, but there's always that moralistic tone. And where I brought that story time to was humility. And I brought multiple stories from multiple different angles to humility. And then that was kind of my hint to the world that I was going to be quitting. And then last time I ended up cracking the egg that I'm quitting. But that was my primer 2 weeks ago, was that humility was what it was going to take for me this last week, to be able to do it, because for me, I mean, my frickin' call name, you know what I mean, on YouTube is Warrior. Come on now, you know what I mean? Like, there isn't a more prideful name to have on YouTube and playing a game than like Warrior, right? And so to quit a game, to like walk away from a game, to lay that down and to call it quits and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing. And I always tell people, like, right, your journey's not over. Your journey is what you go through. It's not how you go through. It's not what you go through, but how you go through it. And it's your struggle. It's your how you get through it. And you don't, it's not about, you're not a failure until you quit. It's once you quit, that's when you have failed at something. Your definition of success, my definition of success always has been, you're succeeding when you're continuously moving forward motion towards your goal. So if you have any forward motion towards your goal, you're succeeding. When you stop having forward motion towards your goal, that's when you have failed. And so I realized that to have success in the next stage of my life, I had to fail at Star Wars Galaxy, and so that was going to require humility, and that was revealed to me. And I realized I was going to have to have a stage of failure in my life, and that doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't bode well with, because I'm like, no failure, can't quit, can't quit. I wouldn't. To come to that point,
I wouldn't call it failure as such. I think. I'm trying to think of another word for it, because there was no failure in either of the accounts. You succeeded to the heights of the top of all of the arenas, all the squad arenas. You succeeded in achieving Kyber. So I wouldn't say it's. The forward motion has definitely stopped, but I wouldn't say it's ended in failure. I think it's ended. It has ended in. Once you've succeeded at something, you still have to stop, don't you? It's just the next step of the next journey, and I think that's one of the things that I'm, not just me, but everybody's probably going to be tuning in like mad to your live streams, because we don't know what to expect, because you're not going to be playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It's like, we know we're going to get story time, but what else are we going to get? Is Sure Shot still going to be your wingman on your live streams?
Yeah, and what's really cool about this is, we know story time's not going to go away. We know that it now opens it up to having podcast style things like what we're doing right at this very second. Something like this now, it opens the way to talk about literally anything. So we can open up dialogue about anything, and we can have more banter. But what it also opens up is, now I have individuals in my life that are really fun to hang out with. So now I have an opportunity to bring in new individuals that the community have never got to meet or know, because they weren't relevant, because they didn't know the game. And so because they didn't really have game knowledge, they really couldn't be brought in. But now, because the topics are going to be more wide or varying, I can now bring them in. So I have a multitude of new individuals that the community gets to meet, that are people that are special to me, that are funny and candid and funny and quirky and like really cool people. So people get to experience a new layer and a new depth of Warrior, and people in my life, they're going to get to meet and experience these individuals on a podcast style level, where they get to just see the banter. And that's one of the things people love. Two things, they said, I love the like banter between you individuals when you're sitting there talking, because really it was like the game was in the background. They were kind of enjoying that as just something in the background, but then it was the banter. And then, of course, the story time at the end, like, are we getting that? Are we getting that? And if I forgot or was about to forget, people would be like, you can't stop until you do that. Like, and I'd be like, all right, I'm getting out of here. And they're like, wait. So, the two things that they like the most that, are not going away. It opens it up for new individuals to be brought in, and it opens it up for depth of types of conversation. The other thing is When I was doing the YouTubing, the first couple of years, I really enjoyed the game, and I started getting wrapped up in the monetization aspect, and started talking to Mobile Gamer and Arnold, and it was like, your videos have to be 10 minutes long, and you got to put so many ads in, and at 4 minutes and at 8 minutes and blah 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 blah. I don't care about that anymore. I don't care. I mean,
are we going to get some long form videos from you?
If you're going to get what?
Are we going to get some long form videos from you?
Long form.
Well, both short form and long form. I mean, if I am on my live streams, always are like an hour and a half, and I mean, they'll probably be shorter now. So people that like my live streams but want to tolerate shorter versions, like 30, 45-minute ones, will probably get those slightly shorter versions. So they'll be happier because they can probably get them in a little bit like a shorter format, and they won't be quite so long. So they'll be a little more tolerable, and or a little bit more palatable. But I can now do like, I don't even know what to call them, but just like little 2-minute snippets. They won't even have ads and stuff. They'll just be like my thoughts for the day. I get oftentimes these like bursts of motivational like moments, and I throw these things up on my family and my friends, and like people in my life say, "Oh man, you're so motivational. You should be a motivational speaker." Like I get this all the time. You are always spinning things positively. You're a perpetual optimist. You're always, you're my mentor. Like these random people that hardly
always
know you, like, you're my mentor. You're my mentor. What's that?
Always having epiphanies.
Yeah, I am really. It's like, always having these like moments in time where I'm just like, this is the a great way of thinking about that. And so I'm like, I could just have these moments in time where I just, write something down and just spend, 90 seconds or 2 minutes and just throw it on a video and then just throw it up. And, if 5 people watch it and it impacts 3 of them, or if 100 people watch it and it impacts 30 of them, dude, that's 30 people that it made their day. It made them smile, or they got to see some personality that they, hadn't seen. And the thing is I used to do, I don't know if you remember, but my original YouTubing days, I would turn my phone sideways, play the game, be a dork, and throw up 5 to 7 videos a week. And there was hardly any monetization. And I just had fun. And that's when in my first year, I went from 0 subscribers to 30,000 subscribers in the first year. And I didn't know anything about anything. After the first year, all of a sudden it became this big like job. And it was like, all of a sudden I was like, Mobile Gamer was big, and like Arnold. And by the way, the first year I was bigger than Arnold. After that first year, he caught me, and then it became a job because I wanted to be bigger than him. I wanted to stay bigger than him. But then, of course, the next year he like passed me, and it was all over after that. But Arnold, the next year, and it became like a big business job thing. And same with Mobile Gamer, became like a big job. And then, of course, year 2.5 to 3, Cubs came out of nowhere, and he grew pretty fast in that year 3. But that's when it started to become unfun, because it became like a process and a job and a thing. And I started having to like go home and make it formal and like have a studio and like talk and like, screw that. Why does it have to be all like that? It's not about any of that. It's about just having a moment, capturing that moment and giving that moment to the people who matter, which are the people that I've connected with that are tuning in. There's people that are sub to me that there's a reason why they had a connection. There's a reason why they tuned in. There's a reason why they are listening. There's something there that they heard. There's something there that they connected to, and that's it. It's literally just a raw emotion, and that's what they're looking for. And that's what that's what the YouTube experience is all about. And I think that's the big picture kind of epiphany that I think I wanted to get back to. But I had this back in October. I actually knew I was going to quit in October, but I stopped basically all my spending in October to go like November and December with basically no purchases. I can't say I spent nothing because I spent like $20, but I wanted to do virtually no spending. For a whale, that's no spending on my Warrior account. My Warrior account to spend like $20 is basically to say free to play for my Kraken account.
Drop in the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so Warrior.
Go ahead.
Do you have You know, I don't know if you have mentioned this anywhere. Do you have any regret, A, of quitting something that maybe you didn't get to do, or B, what it would be your biggest regret, again, if any, in your entire Swago YouTube, time?
Any regret, like in the last 4 years? Do I have any regret in the last 4 years?
Any regret in the last 4 years, and is there a regret in hanging the hat up?
No regret in hanging the hat up, and regret probably with the only regret I have is the amount of money I spent. Yeah, definitely. I always made money on YouTube. And so I always used, and you'll hear this. Okay, I'm going to point this out, and you guys go watch the other YouTubers. Matter of fact, go back and watch different YouTubers. Like, I'm going to actually call out Darth Microtransaction. He's a good guy, really good guy. I like him a lot. But he just made a video on me quitting. And in that video, he uses this excuse. And I'm only using this example so you guys can see my point. Because then you'll watch his video, see the point, and go, oh my God, Warrior's right. And then you'll see it in the future. You'll see it in Cubs Fan Hunt. You'll see it in Arnold. You'll see it in Mobile Gamer. You'll see it in literally every single YouTuber. And this is my regret. And this is, I think, someday all of their regrets once they quit. And they'll look back and they'll go, this is my regret. When you're in it, and hopefully this won't be regret. When you are a YouTuber and you do well, you start to get advertising dollars. You'll start to get people that approach you for doing little snippets in videos. You'll start to make money off of, I actually make money off of Amazon. I have a shirt, Teespring t-shirt thing. So I've got. Go ahead.
We have Going Nerdy. He gets money from Audible, and we have that Audible commercial that we play. So,
yeah. So I've got money coming from that and this and this. So you get all these little things, and then I've got Patreon, and people support me through Patreon. So you've got these little well springs of money, and so you start to make money, and it starts out at 50, and then 100, and then 400, and next thing you know, you're making 1,000, and you're like, oh my God, if I'm making $1,000 a month, I can spend 100 on the game. Why not, right? Because it's a percentage of what I'm making. So why can't I? It's a justification. And the game, I want to be good at the game, and I need to show the world what the game has to offer. I need to open these packs for my viewers. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I opened a pack and said, I'm going to open this pack for you guys. Oh, crap. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. I can't tell you how many times I use that stupid excuse. I'm going to show my viewers. I'm going to take the bullet for you guys. What kind of bull crap malarkey is that? How many times did I lie to myself and say that and use that excuse? And what happens is you start making money at YouTube, and that money there's nothing wrong with making money at YouTube. It's a job. There's literally a ton of time investment. So you should be able to trade time for money. Everyone else does it. They go to work. They put in hours, they walk away with a paycheck. So as YouTubers, if we put in time, we should walk away with a paycheck. If you're not, then YouTube may not be for you, and you're maybe just doing it as a hobby, and that's fine. But if you do it long enough and you put in enough hours, you may want to not do it as a hobby, or you may want to pick a different place that makes you more money if this is where you're trying to make money. But eventually you start making enough money that you start what you call investing your money into the game. And Darth Microtransaction in his last video said, yeah, if I wasn't making money on the game, I wouldn't spend in the game, but I spend in the game because I make money from the game. And I used to say that all the time. Oh, well, I make, a lot of money from YouTubing, so I spend some of it on the game. I'm reinvesting the money my patrons give me back into the game because it's the money they're giving me. So I'm giving it back to them in a sense because I'm putting it back into the game so they can kind of see and know more about the game. But, that's a load of crap. Honestly, the patrons and the other people and the advertising dollars, every penny of that really should have gone into my wallet and should have gone into supporting my family, my kids, and everybody, so I would have been happier and more fulfilled. And this whole time, I would have had less regret, because the truth is I probably would have had a better financial perspective and possibly a better time perspective, because when you spend money on something, you spend more time on that something. And the more money I invested, the more time I invested, and the more I felt like I had to be in the number one guild because of the money I invested and the time I invested. It's a perpetual cycle that puts you into this state of chaos. And honestly, I watch Mobile Gamer, and he's throwing money at the games now because he feels like I've got to, because I don't have a dev account. Arnold is now a Kraken. Arnold buys everything. And I know he's making six figures, but if you're spending, if he's making $100,000 a month, but he's spending, he's making $100,000 a year, but he's spending $50,000 a year, he's making $50,000 after he, spends in the game, but he's still throwing $50,000 of his earnings away to a worthless game. And he could be sacking that away, paying back, his dad and paying off his loans. You know what I mean? And I know how much this stuff costs. And, I look at that and it's like, I know for me, it's a regret. And I know that there are people with different spending amounts and stuff. And I can say I made more than I spent, so I can justify it, but I can't. Because even if I made more than I spent, it's a stupid justification. And I don't think any YouTuber should use that justification. Speaking from personal experience, I think it's a dumb justification. Just because you make money on YouTube, you should spend your earnings. That's like someone saying, I work at a bar and I'm a waitress and I serve people beer all night and I made $1,000 as a waitress. And because I made $1,000 as a waitress, I went ahead and spent $800 on beer for myself. I deserve it. It's a percentage of my earnings going into beer, and it's beer that made me money. I'll spend my $800 on beer, and after all, I should know about beer. It's what makes me my money. No, screw that. That's a really stupid circular reasoning that doesn't actually make any logical sense. But it took me literally until October of this year, and for a really smart cookie, it took me a long time. And yes, I'm hitting myself with an empty candy cane.
So let me get this. So the house, the warrior household is now a swugger-free zone, right? So when Sure Shot comes over, is he allowed to talk? Is he still playing his game? Is he allowed to talk about you with that, or is it like, it's like an alcoholic? He can't, you can't play it, so he can't play it when he comes over as well.
No, you know what? Honestly, he's totally invigorated. He went on a vacation for the winter for Christmas, and he came back and he's like, "Man, I've been playing both the accounts. I'm so excited. It's been so much fun." He's like, "How's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm quitting." He's like, "What?" No way. And I'm like, "Oh, the last live stream we had done." We had everybody donated to get him that $100 hyperdrive bundle, and he was so excited about that.
I hate that thing.
Reinvigorated him, and I'm just like, you know what? To each his own. He had been so good about not spending for so long, and he hardly ever spent anything on that game anyway. So he was kind of getting to that point where he was thinking about, and then that just reinvigorated him. So he's on another plane. He's enjoying it. You know what? To each his own. He's not in a place where he's having that feeling. And that's the thing. I'm not asking anybody to quit the game. I'm not telling everyone their journey. Everyone's on their own journey. It's what's right for me right now. And it's where I needed to be for me. My brother, at some point is probably going to quit because it's probably going to be what's right for him. I have a friend that's been playing it. He's a friend of mine, got me into it. He's still playing. He's never going to probably quit the game. But he's also a free-to-play guy. So, he's going to keep doing his thing. Biggest thing that makes me kind of sad, it's not a regret, but I would say it's kind of sad, is just knowing that I have so many people that I've helped over these years, and now I'm going to slowly start to wane in my knowledge, and they're going to be leaving comments on my old videos is this video still helpful? And I'll be like,
is this still relevant?
I have no idea.
Warrior, does the pillar system still work? No, it doesn't. Go buy a hyperdrive bundle.
Yeah. I'm like, Basically, yeah, sort of. I've got like 1,000 shows. I'm sure some of it's still relative, so sure, watch them all and let me know. Just kidding.
Leave a thumb up or a thumb down. That'll tell other people.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Warrior, we're very thankful that that you've took some time. As you said, time is our most valuable resource. I preach that any chance I get. But you spent some time to swing by and talk to us. I'm very grateful for that, and I really hope you do stay in touch as well, because you're a great guy as well.
Yeah, and if you just want to shoot the breeze or chew the fat, doesn't have to be Swugger related. If you want to do so, I'm more than happy to talk philosophy any day of the week. Much happier talking philosophy. So if you ever want to talk about stuff like that, more than happy to have you on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. I love it. Like I said, I had a fun journey on it. Star Wars is a pretty awesome game. Like you said, I doubt a lot of the things that I griped about will be fixed, and that's okay. It's not my game, it's theirs. So it's that journey. Everyone has their own journey. So if you enjoy the game, play it. And if you're feeling that urge that you should quit, in the famous words of Kylo Ren, find the strength to do it. I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Find the strength to do it. You can do it. I promise you. If it's something that you feel the urge that you should be doing, like you should be hanging it up, then you should hang it up. I remember when I first came in, it was Tiny Grimes, and there was a few others that were from Team Instinct that had spending problems. They ended up going on to Reddit and had posted some large diatribes of like kind of how it had ruined their marriages and things like that. And I just remember that really searing that when it was time, I needed to make sure I walked away honorably and kind of got out when it was time. And, in October, I knew that it was time. And so if you're out there and it's one of those things where you feel like this is an addiction and you're not controlling it, or, you're hiding it, and you feel guilty, or you feel like it's going to cause a divorce, or you're feeling suicidal, or there's things out there that you're feeling out of control, reach out privately or publicly for help, because a game is never worth those things. So just reach out for help.
That's so very, very true. And, we hate to see any of our friends leave the game. But if it is causing social problems, you need to take steps. We love our community and we love our players.
Yeah.
But we are community positive, and we have to support the community itself, because who knows? Maybe one day we'll get Warrior 2.0. Or we'll get Scotty 2.0. I mean, he's back right now taking care of his old account while we're
going through clones like they're going out. We're going through Scotty clones like they're going out of fashion.
But at the same time, it's no longer, a Force Ghost can't actually make money, so therefore they can't spend money. So, to see what happened outside of that, it was very, very troubling. And Scotty took the same step as you did, Warrior. But I really hope we do get to see you again. And we will stay in contact, and you absolutely let us know if there's anything the Escape Pod and the Castaways can do for you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I love the community and everybody that's out there. And like I said, I'm still on YouTube. We're still going to have some fun. So I'm not going anywhere. And I am still going to be on RSG on Saturday mornings for as long as my memory allows. I mean, as long as I can answer questions, I'm going to stay on Saturday mornings and try and answer questions.
Good.
But when
That's
I get
good
to the
hear
point
that
where
you're still going to do Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
I get my bowl of cereal. It's like Saturday morning cartoons. I get my bowl of cereal and I get to watch Jedi Academy.
But I mean, when they start asking me about like the pirates and stuff, I'll be like, you know what I mean? Because the pirate faction's coming this year, and I won't know anything about their mechanics. So
there'll be a comedy value to that, though.
I don't tease me with Hondo Onaka, Warrior. Please do not tease me with Hondo Onaka.
This year, brother. He's coming this year. Be ready. For a fact. He's coming.
Oh, man.
Spoiler.
Nev, take us home, man.
Hey, man.
It's
2020. 2020.
Hindsight is 2020. Nev, take us out.
Well, just want to say thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate you coming on and giving everybody a few bits and pieces and a brief explanation to our viewers as to the reasons why you are retiring and hanging up your hat. So I just want to say thanks a lot to that, and to everybody else, stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this break.
Did you know that if you signed up to become a Patreon, you could get tons of rewards? Force Ghost Scotty could do a roster review for you. Neil Andrew Air could share Grand Arena tactics. Or Paul could even help you get maximum stars in Geonosis Territory Battle. And you even get access into the after show. Sound good? Sign up to be a Patreon today. For as little as $2 a month, you could unlock a ton of potential content and also get closer to the hosts. Head to patreon.com/The Escape Pod to sign up.
The Escape Pod. Cast. The Bridge.
And we're back live. This is the Escape Podcast. I'm your host, Neil. And this good-looking guy here is my co-host, Paul. As you can see, we've had some technical difficulties with that video interview. It was buffering.
Yeah.
And it just cut. It cut out, so I had to cut to a commercial.
Yeah, I go to get a bag of chips because it was about to get to the really damn good part, and yeah.
Yes. So long videos. Clearly,
so here's what we're going to do. This live stream won't end up being the final product of episode 47. It will end up getting sidelined. I will upload a full version with the full Warrior interview, and then what's also going to happen is just the Warrior interview will go up if I can get it all taken care of.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Yeah, upload the full. If we upload the interview, then there won't be any of the visual buffering issues, and hopefully it won't cut out halfway through.
Exactly. So you guys are going to get you guys will get everything. You will be able to hear it. I apologize that I'm going to have to tease in this case, but the big question that I asked him, do you have any regrets? And he did. He had a regret, and it's the answer will entirely show you that we're all human. So
absolutely.
But yeah. All right. Well, Neil, you had do you have the list in front of you of the people that we are in memoriam of?
No, well, basically, last year, and obviously at the beginning of this year, that there is a huge, and I do mean a huge number of people that have left the game. Obviously, Warriors just one more in a long line of people that have left. Not left. They haven't. Nobody's. Nobody's really gone, but but no. When it comes to people that have left the game, I mean, just the six names that instantly jump to mind. Obviously, Warrior's one of them. Thunderwhack, he quit the game last year. He quit Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes about a month ago. I mean, he still streams. He's still going to do stuff, just not Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Obviously, earlier on, go back several months, and Mist left. I mean, he left the game because he had a lot of work commitments, so it was kind of understandable why Mist left. But around about the same time, just before, we had McMole. McMole left Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I mean, I couldn't believe it when he left. But he came off his 30-day ban, didn't he? And left the game.
That was the shocker to me, to be honest with you.
It was. I mean, at the time, I was just I couldn't believe it. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. Was completely and utterly flabbergasted. I mean, he hardcore loves the Clone War era. So it was a massive surprise. And then around about the same time, Doc from Syndicate Games, you've got Doc and Marco from Syndicate Games. Doc, he left. Yeah. He left because of work. He quit the game for work commitments.
Cloud City Gaming.
Sorry.
Cloud City Gaming. One of our first interviews, Neil.
Yeah,
they left. Mm-hmm. Both. Yeah.
So this year has been full of people. I was putting together an in memoriam video. It's not quite finished yet because I'm waiting back on some images from other people. Right. I've basically I've been trying to touch base with all of the people that left the game. Quit Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but are still doing other things. I mean, for example, a good example of that would be Saito. I mean, Saito had an account in the same shard as me, the Horde account. But it was free to play like me. But he hadn't hoarded at the start, so he just joined. And then obviously the Hyperdrive bundle came out, and he was unable to do with that account what he wanted to regarding getting stats and getting information so that he can make better farming guides, because the Hyperdrive bundle, for all intents purposes, it's killed farming guides for free to play.
Yeah,
there is. I mean, you don't get me wrong. You can do a farming guide. You could still use Saito's data, and you could still use Warrior's data, and be 100% free to play. But you are going to be you are in no way, shape, or form going to be competitive. So you can have your level 50 Geos, and you can have your level 50 Phoenix Squadron, but you're going to be in a shard with people that are level 85. So what's the point? You're going to be in the hundreds, 2s, 3s, 4, 5s. You're not going to make any crystal income, so you're not going to be able to do the farming that is required of the farming guide. Because the farming guide requires a certain amount of farming of light side nodes, dark side nodes, cantinas, and then all of the stores. And if you can't get the currency, and you can't buy the refreshes because you haven't got the crystal income, you can't follow the farming guide. So, I can understand why Saito quit that account, and I think he just plays his main account, which is a veteran one. But, that
Team McVenom.
McVenom, yes,
mentions Team McVenom.
I mean, the number of people that have left the game, it's redonkulous. It's absolutely insane. And what Warrior quitting now, it's just the icing. Everybody that was leaving before, I mean, we were small to medium content creators, still valuable members of the community, doing guides. I mean, McMole's guides for the raids were invaluable. I mean, all right, some of the stuff that he did 2 years ago might not necessarily be pertinent now, but the fact of the matter is it was important when he did it. So that was kind of important. Missed Thursday night streams. Missed those.
Can I share what you shared with me?
Yeah,
Nev?
Sure.
I mean, you had told me that if it wasn't for the show and it wasn't for, all the stuff, you would probably be considering it too.
Yeah, no, I would have. Absolutely. If it wasn't for the show and if it wasn't for the community, because people are dropping like flies, I am contemplating dropping several of the accounts. I was so close. I was so close to rage quitting on the Pom-Pom-tastic. So close to rage quitting on the Pom-Pom-tastic when I didn't get put in the GAC, because I live for GAC on that account. That's it. That's all I do. That's all I'm interested in. I mean, sure, I do the other bits and pieces on that account, but the big test, the big test is the Horde account and how successful I can be in the GAC on the Horde account. Because if I cannot be successful on the Horde account in GAC, I'm dumping it because it's pointless. It really, if I can't get the rewards, I can't build up the account.
Yeah, and I'm looking directly at the camera, and I'm looking at you, CG. If this isn't mass exodus, that you said that you would change some things if you saw it, I don't know what is.
Double-digit content creators leaving in a year. I mean, this isn't just... this isn't just the one going out and a new one coming in. One going out and a new one coming in. Sure, there are new content creators coming in all the time, but we're talking about established content creators that were game changers. Established content creators with thousands and thousands of subscribers. 4 digits, not little minnows like me in the 3 digits. We're talking about content creators in the 4 digits, in the high 4 digits. People that if they were doing content all the time, would more than likely be pushing 5 digits. But yeah, it's not. This is not how to retain. Without a thriving YouTube content creator community, the game will fall by the wayside. And at the moment. It's on live support at the moment. Yeah, sure, we've got mobile and we've got Arnold. We're always going to have mobile. We're always going to have Arnold. Thank God we're always going to have Urza and doing GAC in the halls. That's brilliant. And thank God we're always, Ian's doing really, really well. But that's because Ian has, kick-ass abilities when it comes to content creation. And then obviously we've still got RSG and Metaverse.
Yeah, and we got Heinze coming up.
Yep,
we've got Biscuit Weasel coming up. Mm-hmm. Xylo is sticking to it, but he considered quitting.
Yes.
I mean, we have so many, we have so many great content creators that I swear, if we lose Hellenix, they'll be hell to pay.
Oh, God, yeah, no. If Hellenix goes, we're screwed. That's it. Game over. I'm just going to quit. I'll quit everything if we lose Hellenix because, our favorite YouTuber's YouTuber. Literally.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But it's not been a good year. And I think that, they need the content creators in the beta program, and they need to bring back even if it's just a light form of it, some kind of some form of game changer program. We cannot have a monopoly at the top of mobile, Arnold, and Cubs. That there needs to be a tier system. You've got your 100k guys, then we need your 10k guys, then we need the 5k guys, then we need the 1000. Different strokes for different folks. We need different types of content. And if the big guys are quitting, like Warrior, then there's what hope for the little guy that wants to be Warrior is there if Warrior's quitting? So yeah, very, very, very despondent and sad to see him leave because he's not leaving. Yeah. He's just quitting the game. And this is what's killing me so much. Say it. This is the kicker.
Buzzsaw does say it here where he says people are giving up a revenue stream because they dislike what's going on. Imagine if all the whales, dolphins, krakens who don't have a YouTube revenue stream, but instead, they're only putting money into it if they go out.
Yeah.
So if somebody who's a whale or a kraken watches Warrior, and especially with what he says at the end of the interview that we will post.
Yeah.
If they hear that and they're like, okay, maybe I should put this down. Where are they at?
Goodness knows.
So,
yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, Neil, it looks like it looks like the video is caught back up and all that stuff. And we're trying not to go over 2 hours, and I know a lot of our listeners are also ERS watchers. Mm-hmm. So I think we should go ahead and wrap up this show this week. So everybody can go watch ERS, but stick around with us next week for the long form. Warrior will go up as soon as possible. As soon as the final credits roll, Nev, send that Warrior interview to me. I will put it up immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no worries. All right? Will do.
All right. With that being said, guys, be nice to each other, damn it. I appreciate each and every single one of you, Patreon or not. You listening to us, you watching us, and giving us the feedback, even if it's like, oh, it was better when Paul was muted. I love you, Sir Boss. I appreciate each and every single one of you. With that being said, Nev, push the button.
You got it, mate. It's off for now, folks.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button.
Attention! This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the city. Self-destruct mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gotta be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Boo Boo, sit. Good dog.